Okay, I'm here. So let's do our meditation then. Yeah. So if you have never done it before, you know, just listen to it, think the thoughts that make sense to you and leave the other thoughts alone, you know. It's just, it's called a visualization meditation, but like all these things, it's using thoughts. We're using thoughts, you know, we're reprogramming our minds. So these 4 steps, I'll just say that again briefly. I'll give the essence of the meaning of them, then we'll do it as a meditation, a guided meditation. We'll go slowly. So these 4 steps are like the psychological process. The very first one is it's regret. That means acknowledging the things we've done, first of all, with our body and speech that have harmed others. So, but let's say you're not ready to regret it, then you don't do that. Just listen to it. You don't have to engage in these thoughts, but you can listen to them. But if you want to engage in them and make them your thoughts, then you do that. But it's up to you. You're the boss. I'm leading it, but you can decide how you want to deal with these thoughts. You know, it's up to you. So the first one is we acknowledge, basically acknowledging, I did do this, and I did say that, and I did say this, and I did do this. Certain things today, yesterday, this life that we'd like to regret. And the first things here are the things we've done that harm others. This is the point. So then we regret. So the point about regret again is not saying, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's not saying, oh, I'm a bad person. It's simply saying, I did that action, and out of ignorance, you know, out of ignorance, with my wisdom looking back, I can see that it was an action that was based on anger, based on attachment, and I didn't have any thought that it would leave imprints in my mind, and I didn't have any thought of karma. So then out of ignorance, I did that action. So it's like kindness to yourself. Out of ignorance, you did something that left seeds in your mind that will, unless you pull them out, they're going to ripen as you're suffering. And so the energy is, I don't want suffering. I do not want suffering. So it's a kindness to yourself, not anger, not guilt, not neurotic, not you shouldn't have done that. It's none of this. It's based on the wisdom. Now you see you did certain things. Like you didn't know eating all that sugar 22 years ago is why you might get now diabetes. You didn't know it. You're ignorant, you know. So, okay, the regret. So then you think of certain things in this life. And then if it makes sense to you, you can, you know, before that, then you can think of things you don't remember. I mean, there's masses of things. Since we're born, we'll be doing things. And you think, whatever I've done with my body and speech to harm others, of course I regret it. But you've got to say the words, and I'll say these words, because I don't want the suffering. That's the basis of regret here. We have compassion in the next step, you know, it's for ourselves first. Then if it makes sense to you, and I'll say the words, it's up to you to decide, whatever we've done in past lives, you know. I regret those because those seeds are in my mind. I don't want them to ripen, no way. So of course I regret. Then we do the next step. Whom can I turn to? And that's refuge in the Buddha. So he's our doctor. In the sense, he's our doctor. We visualize him above our head. We'll do it, you know. And then the second part there is now you think of those you have harmed. If it's the fish, if it's your mummy, if it's the boyfriend, if it's the ants, whatever. You think of the sentient beings, and in a sense you now regret for their sake. And I must purify also now for their sake. Then you do the third one is the meditation, the visualization, which we'll do, and the mantra. And the fourth is this kind of resolve to change. So we'll go through these 4 in our 20 minutes left. So just get yourself comfy first. I mean, if we're going to be sitting cross-legged, that's fine. Sit in the classic cross-legged position, which is said to be really good. If you can't do that, we're sitting in chairs. So for this meditation, because we're going to have our eyes closed, we can easily get sluggish. We can easily nod off to sleep, you know. So it's important to keep your body upright. So have your feet, if you can, firmly planted on the ground, but don't slump into the back of the chair. So if you're in a comfy sofa, it might be difficult to sit upright. But if you can sit upright, that really does help. So you sit with your back straight, but your muscles very relaxed. Your back upright, but your muscles relaxed, okay? Have your hands in the meditation mudra if you want to, like this, if you like, up to you, left underneath, right on top, thumbs touching, or simply resting in your lap. It's your decision. And the next thing, the key point is your head. So have your head slightly tilted forward, the chin tucked in a bit. This helps your mind become not agitated. If your head is thrust back, the mind can be agitated. Slightly tilted forward, chin tucked in, okay? And then the jaw relaxed. The lips slightly apart. And then the tip of the tongue resting behind the top teeth near the palate. And all these are positions of the body that have been found to be conducive over the centuries by the great meditators to help the mind do its job, because your body doesn't meditate. So the tongue resting behind the top teeth, it sounds very odd, but all the yogis have found, those who've done they do meditation all day, it prevents you from dribbling. It prevents you from sort of having to swallow your spit all the time, apparently. The great meditators say that. And then finally, your eyes. All the great meditators who meditate all day, for example, the light going in, having their eyes open and the light going in is very helpful to keep the mind very sharp and clear. But most of us don't have good concentration, so we'll get distracted by the external objects. So have your eyes lightly closed. But underneath your eyelids, having your eyes looking down, as if you're looking along your nose, okay? So you just settle into this position now very unself-consciously, because your body doesn't meditate, but it's important to have it in this conducive position so your mind can do the job, okay? So settle into this position. So for just a couple of minutes first, let's just do a little concentration meditation on our breath. It's one of the techniques that Buddha taught. So the breath, what we're going to focus on for about 3 quality minutes, okay? We're going to focus on the sensation at the tip of our nose as you breathe in and out. So we'll take a couple of breaths first. Take very complete breaths, not loud. You feel it all the way down to your abdomen, but you're going to locate that sensation. And it's different when you breathe out and breathe in. It's slightly different, but it's that general area. That's the focal point for this 3-minute concentration meditation. So that's the first point. We're going to do that. We're going to find that sensation. But let me just explain briefly what we're trying to do as well in the concentration. What we're going to do is many parts of our mind, like I said, there's attention, intention, discrimination, concentration, mindfulness, alertness. There's many bits of our mind which we don't recognize, all working together. So what we're trying to do, the main point, the main part of your mind that's going to do the looking at the breath, that's called attention. You know, you pay attention. So for 3 quality minutes, we're going to make the great effort to pay attention to that sensation. Now, naturally, lots of thoughts which are there all the time, we're going to become more familiar, we're going to become more aware of them. But we are determined to just pay attention to the breath. It's like you've got 1,000 voices all shouting next door, and you're not going to pay attention to them. The same with your thoughts. You're not going to wish they'd go away. You're not going to criticize the thoughts. You're not going to get involved in the thoughts. You're not going to hope they disappear. They won't. So you're going to, with the strength of your determination to simply pay attention to the breath, that becomes what you focus on. And you let the thoughts come and you let the thoughts go. That's it. If there are distractions around you, the same thing. You don't let your mind wander from the breath. That's the wish. That's the goal. But inevitably, the mind might wander. So as soon as you notice it wandering, you bring it back to the breath. As soon as it wanders off, you bring it back to the breath. If you have to bring your mind consciously, your attention back to the breath 30 times a minute, you did a good meditation. If you space out and don't realize you're spacing out, then you've lost the plot. So the goal is to keep your attention on the breath. That's it. So breathe very naturally, locate that sensation, and then with determination, pay attention to that breath. Just bring your mind back to the breath. Just the breath. So now relax. That was 3 minutes. Quality, 3 quality minutes. Better to do 3 quality minutes than 20 minutes spacing out, definitely. So now with this steady mind, let's do this meditation. Let's do this contemplation on the 4 opponent powers. So the first step is, and think is this practice is really, you are talking to yourself. This for me is a really simple way to put it. You're being your own friend. You're becoming accountable to yourself for your sake. You're the beneficiary of this. Do not doubt it. We're doing it with bodhicitta, if you like, the long-term goal. But this is becoming familiar with yourself, being honest with yourself, being authentic with yourself, taking responsibility for yourself. It's a very powerful practice. So think, okay, just think. Regret. What do I regret? What are the things I've done to harm others in this life, let's say? So we look at there's these non-virtuous actions, say killing. Most of us kill something when we're little, when we're older, because the world does it. The cockroaches, the rats, the mice, the ants, maybe the fish. Maybe we've been in the army, we've intentionally killed. And most of us, it's probably not out of vindictiveness. Certainly if it's something like fishing, it's not out the wish to harm. There's no thought to harm. It's just attachment. It's habit. It's just habit. Most of it's habit, We maybe get annoyed. You see the fish, you see the ants, you see the mouse, maybe spiders we're scared of, so it's out of fear, aversion. So we want to think this. We think, I do regret that. I didn't have the view of karma. I didn't think I'd leave imprints in my mind. I didn't really think of them as sentient beings who, due to their past killing, are born as the fish. They are born as the rats. They're born as the insects due to their past killing. So they have the karma to be killed. And that's even, we think of that, So I didn't know all this. I didn't have this thought. So these actions I've done that have left seeds in my mind that will ripen as my suffering rebirth, as my tendency to kill, as my being killed, my being sick, etc. I don't want that. I don't want suffering. So think, maybe you had an abortion, creatures. So you think, I regret having done these actions and all the ones I don't remember because I do not want the future suffering. You know what? I'm sick of suffering. I don't want to be harmed. I don't want to get killed. I don't want to be sick. I know that. So of course, for this reason, I regret having caused that. I regret from the depths of my heart because I'm sick of suffering. But then other actions we do to harm others with our body and speech. With our speech, maybe mostly we lie, maybe we abuse others, we talk behind backs, we rabbit on about nothing. Maybe maybe we harm others with our bodies in other ways. Maybe we steal, take the ungiven. All these actions we've done out of ignorance and out of habit. We're driven to do them. Not even much volition, just habit. Out of ignorance, didn't realize. I don't want the suffering results of this. I do not want to be stolen from. I do not want to be poor. If we don't pay our taxes, for example, we think that's so normal. That's called stealing. It's called lying and stealing. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to block my receiving things. I don't want to have people not pay their debts to me. I know I don't want that. So I regret the causes of that, my own past actions, from the depths of my heart, because I'm sick of suffering. Any actions we've done with our bodies and our speech that have harmed others, that we remember or not. And then if we can think of beginningless lifetimes, I regret from the depths of my heart any action I've ever done to harm others with my body and my speech, because I am sick of suffering. I don't want suffering. I'm sick of it. So now, of course, we can now think of all our own delusions, which harm us, which drive our actions, which are the source of it, our attachment, dissatisfaction, always wanting something more, which drives our actions of body and speech, our aversion, our fears, our jealousy, our depression, these states of mind that break our hearts. I am sick of these. I'm sick of the suffering. I'm sick of this suffering. I do not want more suffering. So I regret these states of mind, these delusions, cause me so much pain. So now the next step, whom can I turn to? Whom can I turn to give me the methods, the medicine that I can use, the antidotes that I can use to heal myself? So in this context, we turn to the Buddha. So if we can, we imagine above our crowns, in the form of a bodhisattva, the Buddha, not as the monk in a different form. And this particular Buddha is called Vajrasattva, which is like the Vajrayana aspect of the Buddha. But in the bodhisattva style, if you're familiar with that, very radiant, light body, sitting on a multicolored lotus. He's sitting facing the same way as us. His left hand holding a bell, and his right hand holding a vajra crossed at his heart, which is the union of the two truths, which is enlightenment. Very radiant face. If we have a spiritual teacher whom we're close to, we think it's their mind manifesting as this Buddha, solely for our benefit. It makes it very personal. Think our Lama, our precious, the ones, we have many teachers perhaps, but we can think of one we feel close to, manifesting as the Buddha, solely for my benefit. It's radiant white light body sitting cross-legged on a multicolored lotus above my crown. How marvelous, how delightful to found a decent doctor whose methods I can use. Amazing. So now the second part of reliance, they say we rely upon suffering sentient beings, in the sense that in order to get compassion, we need to have suffering sentient beings. We need to know about suffering sentient beings. So here now, we now think of regretting the harm we've done, but now it's for the sake of others. It's for the sake of those we have harmed, those cockroaches, those fish, that baby, the harm, the boyfriend you harmed, the mother you've harmed, the people you've harmed, killed, lied to, stolen from, all the sentient beings we've harmed this life and since beginningless time. all of these sentient beings. We regret for their sake. We know how we suffer, so we know how they suffer. I'm going to purify for their sake. With compassion, empathy with their suffering. So now if we can, we have compassion also for those who've harmed us, if we can. And everybody has had somebody harm them. Creatures have harmed us, humans have harmed us. We have compassion for them. And why should we? Because just like we are experiencing the fruits of our past negative actions when we suffer now, well, they will suffer in the future as a result of their negative actions of harming us. So if we can have compassion for them, because we're all in the same boat, life after life after life, causing harm, being harmed, causing harm, being harmed. I must purify for all sentient beings. So now the third step, the remedy. So now we do three little kind of visualizations. Just imagine, do your best. We're going to visualize, first of all, coming from the Buddha. So he's from his heart. We imagine he sends out this very powerful kind of like hose of nectar that arcs around and then enters our crown and completely fills our body. Just imagine it. Use your creative imagination, with confidence, this wish to purify. We're just using this as a method to help our mind feel we are purifying, because our mind created the negativity, so our mind purifies it, right, with positivity. So imagine this nectar arcing around from his heart, entering our crown and filling us really forcefully. And then what it does is drive out, this first level, all the karmic imprints of all the harm we've ever done since beginning this time with our bodies, completely driving it out, this powerful white nectar, liquid energy, forcing it out through all the lower parts of our body as filthy liquid, and it disappears into space, not one atom left. Every atom of all the karmic imprints of all the harm we've ever done to sentient beings with our bodies. Imagine this, delight in this. And we'll say the mantra. So if you don't know the mantra, don't worry. Just focus on the concentration and hear the sound, these Sanskrit syllables. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Suposhayo Mebawa Anurato Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sawa Kama Sutsame Sitam Triam Kuruhung Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suboshayo Mebawa Anurato Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sawa Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suboshayo Mebawa Anurato Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sawa Kama Sutsame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So now imagine, totally full of this nectar, and all the imprints of all the harm we've ever done with our bodies disappeared into space. Because they are anyway impermanent. They're not set in stone. They are not our true nature. They're just a bunch of habits. So by forcefully wanting to change them, imagining that, then this is exactly what changes our mind. The force of our own mind changes our mind. Be so delighted. So again, this time, Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sends this blissful hose of nectar arcing around from his heart and entering our crown. And this time what it does is fill us and force up from the bottom to the top all the imprints, all the karmic seeds of all the harm we've ever done with our speech, the lying, the lying, the harsh speech, the abusive speech, talking about people behind their backs, all the rabbiting on about nothing. This is our major one. All our uncontrolled speech that harms sentient beings since beginningless time, especially as humans. All of this completely forced up to the top part of our body, leaving the top part of our body like filthy liquid disappearing into space. Just like Lama Yeshe says, when you turn on a tap in the sink, all the junk in the glass comes to the surface, doesn't it? Just like that. Forcefully, this nectar filling us, driving out through the top part of our body, all the imprints of all the harm we've ever done with our speech. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suposhayo Mebawa Anurato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayatsa Sawakama Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Vajramami Musa Vajrabha Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suposhayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayasa Sawakama Sutsame Siram Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suposhayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayasa Sawakama Sutsame Siram Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Delighted, all the imprints of all our ridiculous rubbish of our speech completely washed away, gone, disappeared into space, full of this radiant nectar. How amazing. So now, this time, Guru Vajrasattva sends beams of light, like laser beams of light. I don't know if beams of light can bend, but we pretend they can. So we visualize from his heart, arcing around these beams of light and entering our crown, and this time instantly filling us with this blissful, radiant light. And just as like Lama Yeshe says, the moment you turn on a light in the room, instantly the darkness is dispelled. So imagine that too. Instantly, this light annihilates your ego grasping, which clings to the self-existent me, which is the source of all the problems. And then the massive bottomless pit of attachment to get what that fantasy me wants. And then the aversion and the panic and the depression and the anxiety and the anger and the frustration and all those variations of aversion, depression, irritation, upset, frustration, anger, all manifestations of aversion. All of that. And all the other nonsense, all the other rubbish that comes as a result, the jealousy and the pride and the low self-esteem and all the other nonsense we believe is at the core of our being, but which is not. Instantly dispelled, instantly gone, driven out by this blissful, radiant light filling us. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suposhayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayatsa Sawakama Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suboshayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayasa Sawakama Sutsame Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutoshayo Mebawa Suboshayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayasa Sawakama Sutsame Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Amazing, all the delusions gone. But now we've achieved. We imagine we've removed all the obstacles to they call it all the obstacles to liberation. We've still got more to do, so we can even remove now even the subtlest imprints of all of these delusions. And this is actually then causing us to achieve omniscience, causing us to achieve Buddhahood. So this time it seems kind of busy, but you imagine, you know, all three coming together: the nectar going down, the nectar coming up, and then the light. As we recite 3 more mantras, removing even the subtlest imprints, thus manifesting our own omniscience, our own Buddhahood. Imagine like this. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupala Vajrasattva Chenopajita Dido Mebawa Sudoshayo Mebawa Suboshayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayasa Sawakama Sutsame Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chadragata Vajramame Mutsa Vajraba Mahasama Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupala Vajrasattva Chenopajita Dido Mebawa Sudoshayo Mebawa Suboshayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayasa Sawakama Sutsame Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chadragata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasama Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupala Vajrasattva Chenopajita Dido Mebawa Sudoshayo Mebawa Suboshayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Meprayasa Sawakama Sutsame Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Chadragata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasama Sattva Ahung Pe. All delusions and their imprints gone completely. Imagine, so amazing. So now, the 4th step. Pabonka Rinpoche says this is the most important. This is the resolve, the determination to change. It's so logical. First, you regret that you did some dumb thing. Then you have compassion for those you harmed. Then you purify, and then you decide not to do it again. This is the most powerful. So if we've taken vows already, we will reiterate our vows. If we've taken the lay vows, we'll think, I will never kill again, I will never lie, I will never steal, etc. And what that does is not just wishful thinking, that's digging them in like a new groove in your mind. It's like doing push-ups. Every time you do push-ups, you get stronger and stronger. The same with the mind. It reiterates it every day. And then those vows, let's say you've taken bodhisattva vows, you've taken tantric vows, so you make a clear decision to keep the ones you can, as much as you can, to make a decision to be watching like a hawk, you know. And even just in general, our own habits, like you badmouth your boyfriend too much. You can't say, I'll never do it again, because you don't want to lie to yourself, but you give yourself a timeline. So if you haven't taken vows, just think of certain habits that you've got that you know you want to change, but be realistic. Give yourself 24 hours, say for 3 months, say for a day, whatever you feel you can accomplish, with this confidence that you're gradually developing this new habit. And the power of your mind is what makes you do that. So you just kind of talk to yourself, make some decisions to yourself, the actions of body and speech, and indeed the mind that you want to change, you want to make some decisions about. So now imagine that the lotus that Guru Vajrasattva is sitting on just dissolves up into his body. And then he very happily dissolves into white light, you know, and merges through our crown. So imagine that the energy of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind, the energy of our Lama's body, speech, and mind merges with the energy of our body, speech, and mind, completely becoming union oneness, as Lama Yeshe says, full of this blissful energy. And then for a couple of minutes, just to finish, we imagine our being expanding to fill the universe. Oneness with the energy of the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha and the Guru. Vast as space, spacious, clear, vast, and no thoughts. Just bliss out in this vastness, our own true nature. No thoughts. And now we finish. So delighting in this, so delighting in this activity, this 20 minutes, whatever it is. All these thoughts we've had, how amazing. And the whole day, how amazing all these thoughts. So we'll just finish with the four immeasurable thoughts, these marvelous aspirations of the Bodhisattva. So just contemplate, just think, aspire. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could abide in equanimity, free of attachment, ignorance, and anger. May they abide so. I will make this happen. That's the brave attitude of the Bodhisattva. If I don't do it, who will? I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could be free of suffering and its causes. May they be free. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could have happiness and its causes. May they have them. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never parted from higher rebirths and liberation's excellent bliss. May they never be parted. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. So for the rest of the day, we think like the bodhisattvas, we think we're gonna watch our body and speech like a hawk, because that's what other sentient beings see. We think for this, when we're around sentient beings, we watch our body and speech, and we attempt to have our body and speech be for their benefit. And then when we're on our own and throughout the rest of the day, we watch our mind. Then we're benefiting ourselves and others, and every second of our day, therefore, becomes practice to develop this awareness, okay? So we just delight in this time together, all these seeds we planted, we rejoice. May these seeds ripen as quickly as possible as our Buddhahood, so that we really can benefit sentient beings. And may bodhicitta, this amazing aspiration, grow and grow in the hearts of all. Jang Chub Sem Chog Rinpoche, Ma Ke Panam Ke Guchi, Ke Panyam Pa Me Pa Yang Gong Ne Gong Du, Helba Shog. Okay, enough.
Thank you so much, Venerable Robina.
I've got to get to bed because I've got to get up early to do my session in the morning, and I might see some of you tonight at 11 o'clock. Who knows? Okay, darling.
See you again tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Much love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.